Ready, man?
All right,
let's go. Let's go.
Historic Neyland Stadium, one of the greatest venues in all of sports and one of college football's most revered cathedrals. The iconic home of the Volunteers and the crown jewel of America's college sports city. Those banners wave with renewed energy as Tennessee Athletics and Pilot launch a first-of-its-kind partnership. Preserving Neyland Stadium's name and notoriety for generations to come.
It's football time in Tennessee.
This will always be Neyland Stadium. It is now, always has been, always will be. But Pilot can be a huge part of preserving that and help us reinvest in our fan experience and make sure that it stays Neyland Stadium for decades to come.
We both agreed from the beginning that it had to stay Neyland. And I think that in this day and age, when you think of innovation, I think a lot of times we think it has to be brand new. Like it's sort of out with the old and in with the new. And that's not really, true.
Let's focus on the not really true part. I like the deal. It makes sense for Tennessee, and I'm going to get these guys to weigh in on this as well. If you're going to do this and put logos on the stadium, do it with the right company. And granted, Berkshire Hathaway runs the company now. It's not the Haslam family, but we know the big Jim Haslam connection. We know what he's given to that university. It's the right company to do it. Are they preserving the stadium by giving money in the middle of this renovation project? Absolutely. But everything kind of got spun into we're preserving the name. It allows us to keep the name Neyland Stadium. I'm sorry, I guess I missed the edict that said you had to change the name. It seems a bit like I'm good with what they did. That was Pilot CEO Adam Wright, by the way. I think the deal's good for Tennessee. I just think they oversold it here at the end. They put a little too much spin on the thing. I mean, ESPN had a story that said Pilot is making it possible to preserve the Neyland name from themselves because no one else was bidding. I mean, there's nothing that said you had to change the name. So I'm good with it. I just think it's a little over the top to try and spin it and make people think like we raced in at the last second to dive in front of take the cash bullet and dive in front of the stadium before somebody could change it. Well, if anybody had changed it, it would have been the group that was buying the rights. So kudos for just doing logos. I think that's great. I just wouldn't have spun it. I don't think it's necessary to spin it as far as they did because I had people telling me, well, they saved it. They preserved the name. It's like, from themselves? I don't know who from. And by the way, let's go ahead and show you what the logos on the field look like. And there's the little, I think you're probably going to see that on a lot of social media, but you see the Pilot right there at the 25-yard line. I'm guessing it'll be on the other side at the 25 as well. Vince, you were going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if that's just what Pilot is maybe promoting or marketing that they preserve the name. UT has done it as well. Danny White's quote, because we were committed to preserving the name of Neyland Stadium, finding a partner who shared the vision was essential. So they are also saying, hey, we weren't going to give away the full naming rights. It's not just, hey, Pilot's taking the credit for it. I think UT is a part of, hey, we did want to hold on to Neyland Stadium and call it that.
I think they both did. I wasn't trying to come down on Pilot for this. Again, I think it's a good deal. But I think both of them are acting like this deal preserved the name. The name didn't have to change. That's my only issue. I've been in marketing a long time, so I pay attention to spin. And that was just that was unnecessary spin. You've done a good thing for the stadium. You're helping to preserve it for future generations. Awesome. You don't need to say we're saving the name because the name change didn't have to be. There was no need for a name change.
I think they did feel the need to overly spin it because there's a segment of the fan base that I've already heard talking about this. They worry this is the start of a slippery slope, that if you let them encroach on the name a little bit now, that the next deal is going to be more of a naming rights deal. So that's why I think you had to emphasize that, hey, we had to thread the needle and find a company that was willing to go this route. It couldn't just be anybody, and that's the key. Is they wanted to give Pilot a tip of the cap, but also say, hey, we're not going to change this in the future. It's just this type of deal.
Well, because you saw that kind of a slippery slope thing with the Thompson Bowling deal when they said it's Thompson Bowling Arena at Food City Center, and then they tell everybody, say Food City Center. Which I'm sure has made the Thompson and Bowling families very happy. But this isn't that. Right. So your thoughts on what just happened. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. Let me have it. I just think they oversold it. I think the overall packaging of it makes sense. I think it's a good deal that you got the money. We don't know what the money is. They haven't announced it. Right. But if you got good money for this and you're not having to give up a name, I can put up with a logo.
We talked about this a little bit before we came back. Kroger Field, Lexington, $2 million.
$2 million a year for 12 years, I think.
Whoever their basketball arena, that's 5. The brand of Kentucky football and the brand of Tennessee football, this isn't one of these poke you out on the message boards. It is what it is. Tennessee's night and day better. So whatever the number may be, to Ryan's comment about the people who are like, well, here come, I don't like that they're going and putting the names on Neyland Stadium. Now, those same people can't complain when Tennessee doesn't get a 5-star athlete, okay? Because this is the money that you need to be able to continue to bring in the talent to win footballs games and to win national championships. You have your poll question up right now.
Yeah, number 2 is...
Number 2 needs to be through the roof right now. I want them to sell everything to get as much cash here as possible.
If you keep winning. We'll be okay with it
Exactly.
if you win. If the cash goes to winning.
WWW.
Yeah. Go ahead,
I also
Paige.
think it's clever the deal that they did. I don't really see, like we mentioned, Kroger Field at Kentucky. There's not too many other organizations that kind of put off extra money so that they can get new naming rights. I do think it's how Danny White's been since he's been here. He's very innovative in the way that he gets deals done, brings people in. He always wants to be ahead of the curve. You look at Kim Caldwell coming in for the Lady Vols. He's always kind of thinking a couple steps ahead. I think this is a really creative solution to what's going on in sports, what's going on in money. There's a bottom line to everything. You want as much money as you can, but preserving Neyland Stadium in this manner, I think, was a really creative way.
This time a week ago, the rumor was going around, I don't know who all in the media had been hearing it, but some of us in the media had been hearing it was going to be companies Neyland Stadium, like Pilots Neyland Stadium, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was discussed. They said it was never discussed. I wonder if it was ever discussed. If it was ever just floated for a second. But anyway, they didn't do it, and that's the key, and I give them credit for that.
You get to keep the names of Shield Watkins Field and Neyland Stadium, and you're still getting a check.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, this is rosy. This is rainbows. This is awesome.
Unless you hate logos on the field and logos on the stadium, then it's not.
Well,
So,
and it's
which we can get into in the next segment.
And it's more important than ever in this era because keep in mind, schools across the country are putting construction projects on hold right now. They don't know what this revenue sharing future for college sports is going to mean for them. This allows Tennessee to keep working on Neyland Stadium and doing other stuff that. And also, you've got to tell donors, hey, we need NIL help. So a lot of your donations are going that direction now. That's what really helps you in the football games more directly. So this allows you to make up for the money you're losing to other sources. And have their own little
station in the stadium, like fan favorites from Pilot or something.
Yeah.
Well, and they said this is going to, you're going to see them in the social media stuff that UT cranks out, and UT's the best in the world at that. I mean, the stuff like whoever came up with calling it America's college sports city, that's smart branding. I love that. Nobody else that I know of was doing that. Whoever came up with it, was Danny White or somebody on the team over there, smart. And the fact that they keep hitting it home constantly. They know what they're doing. You're going to get Pilot on a lot of that stuff. It sounds like you might be seeing Pilot in some of the other stadiums, maybe not like what you're hearing here, but it sounds like you're going to see them elsewhere. And you do have that entire complex that they're building as well. So you wonder, Tyler, where you're going to see, might you see some Pilot branding over there as well? I'm guessing this is a chance for Pilot to kind of own UT athletics.
If I had a poker chip on August 18th and we revisit this a year, 2, 3 years down the road, and I put it on, I would be willing to bet that the entertainment district and Pilot might have some ties together or labelings.
Yeah, that seems easy.
I just hit Ryan with the don't assume you'll be on the show in a couple years.
That's
And
100% accurate.
You just walked right into the spinning propellers. I'm just kidding. We all know that the real person who could lose the show in 2 or 3 years is me. When we come back, I want to continue this conversation. I want to talk about what we're okay with. Logos, names, patches on jerseys, that kind of stuff. I think most people would be okay with what's happened so far. But where's that line drawn? Come on back on the Sports Source.